All right, mate.
Are we on again?
Yeah, we're filming again. Not to like, this is, need to get a remote control. We had one, but you lost the
I
remote.
lost it.
Right. So it's probably down the back of the couch.
Yeah.
What would be your best advice to someone thinking about becoming a realtor out there right now?
Well, the first is have a bunch of money, know a bunch of people, and just be prepared to work every day. There's a young kid. Aikens has a program where you can take all your courses and at the end of your senior year, get your real estate license. And
I did not know that. At
Yeah,
Aikens?
At Aikens. And when I took a program at ABOR called Texas Realtors Leadership Program, one of the things that we did was work with these kids. They came up to ABOR one day and we had a bunch of programs and we got to meet them. And one kid in particular was so sharp. His name was Yomar. He already had his own landscaping business. He was coming up to people and handing out his card and trying to get business. And we all thought he was the bomb. In fact, he's quoted a cleanup at the house that we were talking about earlier. And
He's going to get it?
Well, it depends on he's probably going to get it. It depends if the owner wants to spend the money, but I think we have to do it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to call him up and say, Yomar, do you understand what this job is? This job is not selling houses. This job is selling services. Selling the house is one thing. Getting the listing or getting the buyer to use you as an agent, that's the job. That's the hard part of the job. So, and I'm not, I think a lot of people come into this business and they don't understand that selling houses is the luxury that comes once you've done the work of signing a client. So
yeah,
that understanding what the job is the number one thing.
No, I was being completely quiet there and not making an encouragement because that's gold. That's right. So,
and it's it took me over a year to get over the imposter syndrome. I didn't want to call any of my sphere. They all knew me 25 years of being the computer guy. And I felt embarrassed and unqualified to call and try to get business. And then I just started, the first time I did an open house and was hammering signs in the ground, I felt like such a fraud. And then I thought, I'm just going to do this every weekend until I stopped feeling like a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, but it took a year.
Yeah.
2024, I didn't sell a thing. I had a house, got my license March of 2023, sold something in October of 2023, quit my job finally February-ish of 2024. But I had a couple of lease listings, but I spent all of 24 just getting my head right. And thankfully I had the money to do it. But, know a bunch of people, have a bunch of friends, get ready to work like you've never worked before.
Mm-hmm.
That's, yeah. So that's my advice. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, no, I think really, really good advice on that, and super honest.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Understand, when you take that real estate test, you still don't know shit about doing the transaction. You've just gotten yourself from -20 in real estate to 0. And you're at 0 and you better start gathering some more information and sign with a small brokerage. Don't go to these gigantic brokerages where you're going to get some time from somebody, because it's a learn by osmosis business. And if you can go to a small place where you can listen to some conversations, it's going to be huge. And also if you can go in and go somewhere. I've been working at home since 2007. I didn't want to go in. I'm used to being in my little compound. But if you're young and you can find a good brokerage where there are people going and hitting the phones and you can listen, that's going to be a big deal.
Hitting the phones, outbound selling, what else?
And just getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
So what was one of your first getting uncomfortable experiences?
Well, putting the open house signs out, but I guess I was I'm doing an open house, and this woman comes in, and she says, I'm just here to get a feel for the market. I have to move soon, and the uncomfortable was just going a couple of days later, knocking on her door, and let her know I want your business. I think I can do a good job. That was my second listing. I never told her that you're pretty much, I'm cutting my teeth on you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's that. Oh, there's going.
You got above her asking, we got her asking price.
Not really.
No?
That was one where if she could have, this was 2025 in early January. Well, the market dropped. So I thought that her house was going to bring 480. But by the time it was, when she finally got her husband in the memory care place, it was July. And we went to market at 449 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just a different market. And I didn't.
Yeah, she couldn't help it, but there were some things that
Yeah.
slowed it down. I was working on her stuff for California for the move, and she had some stuff to.
We did get the house sold in 30 days, and that was critical.
Yeah.
Because she was really feeling the stress, and she ended up renting, and now she's never going to buy again. She's like, Mike, I love renting. For $2,200, I can rent this place, and if it's something broken, I call the super, and they come and fix it.
Oh God, I put it on a real estate sales video, whatever video this is. Home ownership's not for everyone. Home ownership's great. I've had clients come to me to get their mortgage sorted, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to show them how to do it if I can do it. But what are you paying for rent? She goes, I'm paying this much. I'm like, analyzed her situation, and this is not, this is not staring, but I'm like, you're in a great situation. If you go to ownership, you're gonna be looking at this with property taxes and stuff. Now in the long run, it's gonna be great with this, and we still work through the process. But in the end, for her, it made more sense to rent. And I think too, from a sales point of view, there's sometimes something good in giving it away to get it too, and going like, look, why do you even want to? Why do you want it? You're in a great situation. To be honest, I train that with realtors too for outbound sales calls. If somebody's doing a call on calling up home buyer, somebody who's been interested in a home, ask them right off the bat, why are you even looking to buy? And then when they say it, because people don't believe what you tell them. They believe what they tell themselves, and they might believe what they see on TV as well. So if you can get them telling you why it's a good idea for them to buy, then that's half the job done. So it's interesting, I often say to people, go, well, why do you even want to buy? Why do you even want to move? You're in a great spot at the moment, Sometimes it makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Overall, I think home ownership is far superior to renting, and I think ownership in general is far superior to renting. The only thing I don't like is property taxes, and that's a whole other video, because as long as they can keep putting your property taxes up, I almost feel like you're not truly getting ownership.
At some point, it's got to stop.
You get taxed yearly.
Yeah.
Like you buy a product and then next year you get taxed on it again. Like, okay, if you're any kind of conspiracy theorist, well, doesn't that make it easy to push the middle class out of home ownership? All you need to do is keep pushing up the property taxes. And then you get big companies that can claim their taxes back at the end of each year, including property taxes, and they've got an advantage over your homeowner. So,
Did you know that Warren Buffett put $800 million into Lennar?
I did know that.
And,
they were that basically public companies for a long time were not interested in home ownership at all, because everything on their books has to generate a profit within a certain amount of time. Now, big corporate, big public companies are massively involved in home ownership, and companies like Lennar are coming up with programs. I got to watch, not to name Lennar, sorry, on this particular one, but there are public companies that are creating models where, they want to end up, they don't want to sell in the end. So most of these companies were based on
And-
building, selling, getting out of it. A lot of them now want to own for the long run. So that's why I'm a big believer in ownership. You know?
Well, and these companies can go in and buy an entire development, 1,000 homes, buy the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and with every benefit that they have. So I'm at the same stage. I'm not anti-capitalist. Go out, buy stocks in the right companies, you know. But yeah, there probably should be something done in the way of protection against that. But yeah, the property tax thing I know is a big issue, and I'm a believer in taxes, but they need to work out the correct way to do that. And whether that's a one-off tax, probably I'd be going too political if I started saying this, but one is reducing the spend, and then two is working out maybe a different system for where they get it from. Some should come from property taxes.
Another day, let's talk about recapture in Texas and what it means for Austin homeowners. I bet half of Austin homeowners do not realize that half of their property taxes that they pay to AISD get pulled out and go. In fact, over half. Over half gets redistributed to other parts of the state.
Oh, well, let's, do that video now talking about recapture, but I know the frustration amongst, as long as we want to help sister schools and things like that, but when you've got a school that's not got the facilities it needs, and then you find out that more than 50% of the money that you think you're contributing towards your local school is going towards another school
In another county.
in another county, you're kind of like, well, that's
Socialism.
not fair. Yeah, like, hang on. And yeah, even some of the, I don't know if this is accurate, you might know more than me, but even some of the fundraising money and stuff that you put in, I don't know if that's true.
I know at one
I
point,
thought some of the fund running stuff and all of this stuff we raised for Bailey, that some of that money has to go off to the sister school as well.
it could be, I know that at one point, Baranoff raises so much money. I don't know if they still do, but when my kids were
I was
there,
at Baranoff, yeah.
and there were other schools that were somehow trying to get, they thought that they deserved some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard.
Yeah. And then it creates, don't get me wrong, I think there's a middle ground, and we want to, help out our neighbors and stuff, but, it's a big topic. But yeah, when you're paying your property taxes, you think it's going towards your school system, and it should. The other thing with property taxes is it means the amount of things that those taxes pay towards. I've sat with ChatGPT having some fun about trying to break down the property tax, issue. And I hate to say the word in Texas, but income tax. Maybe there was a corporate tax that we could be, maybe we could tax Tesla 0.5% more and reduce our property taxes. I don't know the answer. It takes somebody cleverer than me. But what I did get from it was that homeowners were paying a disproportionate amount of taxes because of the property tax scenario.
I'm interested in reading that information.
Yeah, there's a lot that's falling on the homeowners to pay for all of these, pay for the benefits, or to pay what the property taxes go towards. That, all the people who don't own homes in Texas are not contributing towards.
One thing that works really well is the taxes that pay for ACC. That program is killing it, because ACC is still affordable and it is a great program. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, good to know. I know these are bigger topics and for me to solve, but I think, just property taxes in general, like we've got some great systems in place for our vets, we've got great systems in place for our disabled vets, not enough in place for our regular vets. It's sad that whenever I'm dealing with a vet, I have to hopefully ask them, are you disabled? Because that way we can get you you get discount on your property taxes and you might qualify for a home. There's a lot of people who live in homes right now who are having to move out of them because their property taxes have increased and they can no longer afford to pay the property taxes on it. So that really does fly in the face of true home ownership.
And fairness. So.
Yeah. So this month, vote Mike, vote Gavin. And then my whole mandate's gonna be, No property taxes. We're going to do tariffs. We're going to do tariffs on exports from Texas. What do we export? Oil.
Yeah, we export oil.
Shit, we export oil. Can't we do a tariff on oil and no longer have property taxes?
Can we do an export on Texas and Austin music? Can we do a tariff on Lone Star beer?
Tariff on Austin music. Tariff on craft beer. I think most of the craft beer gets drunk in house.
I think they're shipping Lone Star out.
They're shipping out. A friend of mine, Stephen, host of the Mayor, told me something about, I need to know the beer company, but they sent beer up in a rocket the other day. And they're actually looking at growing hops in the space station. So that's kind of cool. And that's a Texas company. So that's good. You know, we'll have beer in space. I don't know what it's like having been drunk in zero gravity.
Can't be too bad.
Can't be too bad. Yeah. So that's good. All right, I think we digress into that video.
Let's see, what else? I hope I don't run out of space on the phone. Is it still?
Yeah, that's it. Seen a whole pile that say make something with this shit.
That's 16 minutes. I'd say we have enough.